Hey guys, Clarissa and I here. I noticed a few people have been doing their PolitiScale at the moment, so I thought I'd have a go at doing it myself. So let's take a look. Now, obviously English. Start the test. Alright, let's see how we go here. So, a good policy and a pragmatic policy without ideology. I would have to say I agree. The fact that some schools and universities are private is not a problem. It can be. It can be a problem. Particularly since some of them use it to skirt the rules. I would have to say hesitant on that one. In some specific conditions, the death penalty is justified. I don't think it's ever justified. Honestly, I think I actually prefer somebody rot in prison for the rest of their life than actually get the death penalty. I think death penalty is a way out. I do not have any problem if other official languages are added or replace the existing language in my country. Well, we already have other official languages. I mean, we've got our Aboriginal languages I can't speak a word of, outside of a few, which are just based on the local place names. For example, I know Wendari, which is where the name Wendouree comes from in Ballarat, which of course means piss off. And I'm not joking. Seriously, the story goes that a settler came across the swamp and asked the local Aboriginal what's the name of this place, and the Aboriginal said Wendari, just piss off, and the settler thought that was the actual name. So Wendouree in Ballarat, it actually means piss off. Alright, so I would have a problem with that, so I can only speak one language. Preserving non-urban ecosystems is more important than creating jobs. Ugh. I don't think so. I've... 70s are hard. I would have to say to disagree. Multiculturalism is a threat to our society. Hell no. Australia was built on multiculturalism. Changes in individuals' way of life can induce changes in society. An individual's life can... Yes, they can. I do believe in that. Social differences between ethnic groups cannot be explained by biology. True. It's nurture, not nature. It is acceptable if there are rich and poor people. It is acceptable, but the problem is when the divide is too wide. So I agree that it's acceptable, but the divide is too wide. Sexual assaults are partly caused by men's natural impulse. Oh, bullshit. It's a choice. State-run companies should be managed like private ones and follow the logic of the market. Competition, profitability, yes. Definitely agree with that. Justice should always take into consideration the context and past of the condemned and adapt their penalty accordingly. Yes, definitely. I mean, if someone's a first-time offender, they should honestly believe if someone's a first-time offender, then they should not have as harsh a sentence than someone who hasn't offended in the past. Alright, what else have we got here? So, absolutely agree. Social assistance deters people from working. That is bullshit. That's a myth. That's a myth. A lot of people, pride's such a big part of it. People want to work. I mean, I want to work, but I can't. It's a pain. It's frustrating. Maintaining strong economic growth should be the objective of the government. No, I think looking after the people should be the objective of the government. Patents should not exist. I can understand them, but the problem is some of them are a bit... It depends what you're patenting. It depends what it is. Hormonal differences can explain the differences in the individual characteristics between women and men. Hormonal, no. Biological, yes, but if it's almost the same thing, isn't it? I'm neutral. Selfishness is the overriding drive in the human species, no matter the context. No, because there are some people that are so selfless, you know? So I'd say it's not. I'd have to disagree with that. The right to be anonymous on the internet should be guaranteed. Yes. I mean, I don't use my real name on the internet. I've never used my real name on the internet aside from my personal Facebook. Because honestly, I used to work in the public sector, and I don't want my stuff tied back to my real life job. And yeah, so you should be allowed to go anonymous. I mean, you look at all the Chinese. We need to make compromises with opposition to apply our ideas. There's a limit to it. I mean, the Democrats in America compromise too much to the point they get nothing, and the Republicans never compromise. So I'd have to say somewhat agree, but not really. Technological progress must not change society too quickly. Bullshit. I'd rather disagree with that one. Heavy penalties are efficient because they are dissuasive, but the evidence shows they are not. They don't. So I'd have to disagree with that. Revolution will always end up in a bad way. Well, I'm pretty sure that the French don't agree with that. Russians might, but the French don't agree with that. And of course there's the whole Magna Carta thing. So, no. The influence of religion should decrease, definitely, particularly here in Australia. Humans should neither eat nor exploit animals. I love my steak. Prisons should no longer exist. There's a place for them, so I'll have to go disagree with that. The values of my country are superior to those of other countries. Well, yes and no. I actually think Australia's values are actually pretty darn good. They're getting a bit too silly. I'd say yes. Difference of treatment in quality of life in our social system show the racism is still, yes, definitely. If you look at the way that the Aboriginals in our community are treated, I mean, they have in some of their communities what they call cashless cards, cashless welfare cards, which basically means they give them their welfare on a card. And what this card is they can only use it in certain places. And it's a problem because if they want to buy something that's not listed, like school books for a kid, they can't. But it's only exists so far. They're talking of rolling it out more, but it's that belief that they're just going to spend it on alcohol, which is honestly not true, and it makes life so much harder for them. Oops, there goes my thing. Alright, so definitely it is necessary to remove regulations and labour legislation to encourage firms to hire. Oh, bullshit. So no. Regulations in labour legislation are needed, seriously needed. I very much support the unions. Nuclear fission, when well maintained, is a good source of energy. It's also very volatile. And how they actually get the nuclear, I'll have to hesitate on that one. Change the system radically is counterproductive. We should transform progressively. I believe yes, we should. While radical change is often sometimes needed, I believe in it coming progressively. Even the same-sex marriage here in Australia. It's progressive. It's happened over time, so it is legal now, though. Transhumanism will be beneficial because it allows us to improve our capacities. Transhumanism. I actually don't know what they mean by that. Let's just find out. What's transhumanism? Is that fear that human race can evolve beyond its current physical and mental limitations? I'll have to agree with that then. Okay. Abstinence should be the preferred to bullshit. Abstinence only. No. Banks should remain private. I can see the benefits in public banks. Nobody is by nature predisposed to criminality. Yes, I agree with that. Nobody is. We must fight against global warming. Yes. Activism in existing political organisations is not relevant to change society. No, you need activism. Transforming ecosystems, durability to increase quality of life of humans beings is legitimate. No. Because sometimes we quality of life for us. It depends what they mean. I'll just put that. Don't know what it means. Armed struggle in a country is sometimes necessary. There are times when it is necessary. If you've got a regime that's taken over, for example, I think, there are times when you do need to rise up. Unfortunately, in today's society, governments have so many weapons, so much power that what good are we going to do? Even the whole argument in America about we need our guns in case we need to have a revolution. Well, the government's got drones. Well, the government's got missiles. It's got F-16 fighters. What good is your gun going to be against those? They're nothing. So I do think it's necessary, but I'll have to say some degree. Members of a nation or culture have some unchangeable characteristics that define them. All nations and cultures change. There are things that do to kind of define them, but the problem is they change. Cultures change over time as they adapt to new things, so I would have to say disagree. Elections organised by the state cannot question the powers in place. No. I'll have to say no. All sciences, even Christian biology, are not absolute and are subject to be shaped by our society. Yeah, well, there's no right or wrong. There is no right or wrong in science, so they're all prone to bias, so I have to agree. Looking for one's own profit is healthy for the economy. No, not really. I mean, if you're a rich person and your whole thing is about getting as much money as you can at the detriment of your own workers, then it actually hurts the society. So I'll have to go no for that. Offshoring and outsourcing are necessary evils to improve production. Bullshit. It is necessary to teach history in order to create a sense of belonging to the nation. I think it's highly important to know the history of your country, or what you've been through, and I mean the goods and the bad. I mean, you can't hide what's happened in your past. You've got to admit to know where you are now. Sexual orientation is a social construct. It's biological. Energy and transport structures should be a public matter. I I recently had a conversation with a Conservative about this, actually, about the privatisation of the energy sector, because they've privatised it mostly here in Australia. Now, power bills are actually the highest in the world. I'm not even joking. South Australia, for example, has the highest energy prices in the world, number one. And it's they're public. They used to be public, but what's happened is they've had energy companies come in and take over and just drag the costs right up. So, but transport structures at the same time whack the tolls on them. People don't use the toll roads; they avoid them. So I think they should be a public matter, or at least regulated. So I'll have to say some would agree. We need to establish a monarchy to federate the people and preserve our sovereignty. I'm going to make no secret of this. I believe in a republic. I think that the monarchy has had its time and place. I would like Australia to become a republic. So I am going to have to say no. People need to stand up for their ideals, and even if it leads them to betray their country, depends what you mean by your ideals. I mean, if you're a whistleblower, yes. If your country is doing something bad, like my country has been severely mistreating refugees. And I mean, it is unbelievable what they've been doing to the refugees. So, people were violating. I mean, they made it illegal for journalists to go there to see what they were doing to them. So, the whistleblowing for that, yeah, betray, go right ahead. But if you've got an ideology, a religious ideology, such as with ISIS, if you've got a ideology says that everyone else needs to be destroyed, then it's a problem. So I'm going to have to say neutral on that. Euthanasia should be authorised. Yes, if you're terminally ill, you should have the choice. I'm pretty sure that recently my state may have in fact made it legal. I'm pretty sure Victoria has made it legal to euthanize. If someone's got terminal cancer or has severe dementia and they're older, I'm pretty sure they actually now can legally go to their doctor and organise for that. We should always distance ourselves from protesters who use violence. Yes, definitely. You've got to call out the bad in your own group. No one should get rich from owning a business, housing, or land. No, I think if you've got a business and you start from the bottom and you do well, I think you should be allowed to get rich. I mean, you've worked for it. Sabotage is legitimate under certain conditions. Yes, I do believe in that. Homosexuals should not be treated equally to heterosexuals in regards to marriage. No, they definitely should be treated as equals. They should definitely be treated as equals. And they are now in my country. Sort of. It is legitimate for a country to intervene militarily to defend its economic interests. No. No. How many wars in the Middle East have been started because of oil? No, definitely not. Economic interests have killed so many people. I would wonder too if more people have died for economic interests now than they have for religious in the recent wars. Although ISIS isn't really, it's more power than it is religion, because the ISIS are Wahhabi, and that's more political than it is religious. And there's not that much difference between Wahhabism and Zionism, which in itself is ideological and political rather than it is religious. So I would say no, definitely not. It is important to encourage an agriculture that maintains food biodiversity if the output is inferior? I would say yes. I actually live in a huge agricultural area, and they're trying to get rid of it. I think we do need to try and keep our agriculture strong. You have good years, you have bad years. Order and authority should be respected in all circumstances. No, not in all circumstances. There are circumstances where you got to give it the finger. If the authority is doing something wrong and clearly wrong, then you don't respect them. GMO should be forbidden outside research and medical purposes. Let's just remember, bananas are GMO. Natural bananas. I mean, if you've ever actually seen a natural banana, you can't eat them. I mean, bananas have been changed over the years. They're apparently very bitter. There we go. But it looked like before we got into them. Here we go. You've never seen this. I mean, that right there, people, that right there is a natural banana. That's a natural banana. There's your watermelon compared to now. There's a wild banana, apparently very, very bitter. There's eggplants in their natural form. Here's the carrots. See, these are all GMOs, essentially. Corn. We've changed them. We have actually changed our fruit. They're technically GMOs. So, no, I think there's room for GMOs. The problem is when you have companies like Monsanto, who set things up like they have their wheat, for example, which doesn't have seeds, which means every year you can't just harvest the wheat and then replant it using the seeds, because it doesn't have seeds. So every year you have to buy more and more. That's a problem, but it's not the GMOs in themselves. In that case, that's the problem. It's the company and the patents. So I would have to say no, not forbidden. Abortion should be limited to specific cases. I don't think abortion should be limited at all. It's your body, your choice. One is not born, but rather becomes a woman. What the hell? What the hell? What's that? Maybe you go through puberty, but it's again biological. I mean, you might be even trans. Really, you're born trans. You have the wrong body. So no, I don't. So I have to disagree with that. The filing and storage of personal records should be delimited strictly, and databases cross-checked should be forbidden. Cross-checking. If they mean like your public stuff, I think there is a time and a place. So I'm going to have to say no and disagree. If two countries have similar economies, social systems, and environmental norms, then a free market between them has no negative impact. No, that you could be very similar, but it can have a negative impact. So I have to say neutral. It is important that health should stay a public matter. That is not even of course it should. I mean, that's the problem with America, that they don't care. They've politicized. They've basically turned your health into a commodity to get rich off. It's not right. Individuals who get out of prison should be accompanied in their reinsertion. If you mean to help them rehabilitate, yes, I very strongly believe. So they should be accompanied to help them get back on their feet. So I somewhat agree with that. Research produced in my country should not be available to other countries. No, 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 no. Let me put it this way. Australia created Wi-Fi. Should we have limited that? Nobody would have Wi-Fi if we hadn't. Black boxes for aeroplanes, Australian. Pacemakers, Australian. So definitely not. We should be sharing our research. I mean, sometimes I can understand why you don't. So I would say no. Actually, yeah, I disagree. It is necessary to implement assemblies to ration our production to the consumers according to their needs. No. The labour market enslaves workers. Ooh, the Australian labour market, not really. Not the Australian labour markets. It can. The American one definitely does. The American one definitely enslaves workers. So I have to say neutral, hesitant. The purpose of the judiciary system should be to punish those that went against the law. Yeah, some would agree. The main goal of a couple is to make at least one child. Nope. I think if you're a couple and you don't want kids, it's all for you. Transgender individuals will never really be of the gender that they would like to be. I think they can, so I have to disagree. Wage labour is a form of theft from the worker by companies. No, there's a room for it. I am equally concerned from the inhabitants of my country and those in other countries. Yeah. I'm actually more concerned about people in other countries, honestly. There is a lot of problems here in Australia, but we have it significantly better. I mean, we have it a lot better here than a lot of the other countries do. I mean, we have universal healthcare. We have a fairly affordable education system. You don't go bankrupt here if you go to university, or if you have a heart attack. There is a widening gap between rich and poor, and there is a problem at the moment with more homeless people. But when you compare it to other countries like the Palestine, for example, which is living under occupation, we have it so easy. I mean, I can go from here to the city and there's no checkpoints. I don't have to worry about neighbouring country coming in and ransacking my home because my daughter might, maybe, possibly, throw a rock, and I don't have to worry about her getting shot on the way to school. So yeah, we've got it pretty good here, but I do worry about other countries. Market economy is optimal when it is not regulated. No, it needs to be regulated, otherwise you get monopolies. Citizens should take priority over foreigners. In your own country, yes. I mean, you don't want to treat the foreigners like crap. Yes. The state should be abolished. No. There's a room for them. Is it merit that explains the difference wealth between two individuals? No, it's about where you're born. The police should be armed. To a point. And some police have the shoot first, ask questions later mentality. That's a problem. But I think there are situations where, yes, they should definitely be armed. I think should be armed with tasers before anything else. But so I'm neutral in that one. Is it acceptable that industry sectors are private? Some industry sectors are private. Yeah, that's fine. Conditions of life in jail should be greatly improved. I think there needs to be more done for rehabilitation. I think we need to look at some of the other models around. Nowadays, employees are free to choose when signing a contract with their future employer. No, they actually aren't. They rolled that back, so it's kind of dodgy that. It is a small group that consciously and secretly controls the world. It's no secret that the rich control the world. It's no secret. Everyone knows that the people who run the world are the oligarchs, the rich people. I mean, here, America, Britain, Europe, Saudi Arabia has a lot of them, but the oligarchs run the world. But it's not really a secret. So I have to say someone agreed to that. Mass strike is a good way to acquire new rights. Definitely agree with that, and it has worked. I've done strikes. Dismissals of employees should be forbidden except if it is justified. Yes. You can't just fire someone because you don't like them if they do their job. They do their job well, but if they don't do their job well, fire them. It is better to arrest someone potentially dangerous preventively rather than risking them committing a crime. No, they have to commit the crime first. It is unfair to set a minimal penalty for an offence or a crime. No. It standardises it, so no, it's not unfair. The social roles of women and men are partially explained by biological differences. No, I don't think it is. I think it's social. I have to disagree with that. Environmental norms should be influenced by mass consumption and not from an authority. I think authority should have a role in it. My country must pay for the damages caused by the crimes it commits to other countries. Yes. Yes, definitely. If we go in and bomb the shit out of someone, we should help pay to rebuild that country. So yes, we should. Minimum levels of salary should be ensured that the worker can live for his or her work. Yes, I believe in the minimum wage. The categories women and men are social constructs that should be given up. Yes. I mean, I'm not saying that everyone's got to become an it, but I mean, what is a man, what is a woman? Indeed, social constructs. So I have to put neutral for that, I think. The maximum allowed hours in legal work should be increased. No. It should be decreased. Honestly, if you ask me, you should have more time, and they actually have found in some countries decreasing it's better. The sacrifices of some civil liberties is necessary in order to protect it from terrorist acts. No. Definitely not. Marriage should be abolished. No. Borders should eventually be abolished. No. Revenues and capital should be taxed to redistribute wealth. Yes. Capital gains definitely need to be taxed more. A good citizen is a patriot. No. You can be whatever you want to be. National chauvinism during sports competition is not acceptable. What do they mean? Just to double check. Extreme patriotism. No. I think if you're the broadcaster, you can be biased for your own country. If you're an umpire, you can't. So I'm going to have to say disagree with that. Insurrection is necessarily to deeply change society. Yeah, it is actually. It is necessary to avoid private monopoly. Yes, very necessary, because that's when they start really screwing you. Some sectors or type of employment should be financially supported. Yeah, yes. Traditions should be questioned always, always. It is not acceptable that human actions should lead to the extinction of species. Yeah, it's definitely not acceptable. Loans contracted in a public sphere, states residents should be not necessarily be refunded. Phew. I think that depends. I'm going to have to go neutral on that, because it depends. Reduction of waste should be done by reducing production. No, reduction of waste should be done by recycling. We should accept changes in our way of consuming food to limit the exploitation of nature. I have to agree a bit like that, because some of the, like palm oil and overeating, and honestly we do eat too much beef. I love my red meat, I do, but we do need to make some changes. Language is defined by users, not by scholars. It's defined by both, so neutral. Exploitation of fossil fuels is necessary. No, it's not. Not anymore. Violence against individuals is never productive. It is never productive, no. Oh, some would agree. Space colonization is a good solution for supplying the lack of raw material on Earth. It is, actually. It honestly is. So some would agree. The age of retirement should be lowered. Definitely. Definitely. I mean, if you're a tradie, are you still got to be out there climbing on the roof, putting the tiles on when you're 80? Or 70, like they're trying to raise their age? No, you're not. Some people maybe, no, but it should be lowered. It should be at least 60. Foreigners living in my country should be allowed to act politically equally to those who have the nationality. No, you need to be... Well, you can't vote. You just can't vote. Hacking has a legitimate place in political struggle. Absolutely agree. My religion must be spread as widely as possible. Well, my religion is atheism, so I want that to go everywhere. But I'm going to have to disagree. It is necessary to massively invest in research to improve productivity. Yes. Foreigners enrich our culture. Definitely. Activists must always act in strict accordance with the law. No. Biologically, human beings are designed for heterosexuality. No. Honestly, we're designed for bisexuality. Schools should mostly teach our values, traditions, and fundamental knowledge. No. Oh, God, this is a hard one. Teach our values, traditions, and fundamental knowledge. No. Well, which traditions, values? Because we have... Australia is a very, very diverse country, so I'm going to have to say no. Oh, here we go. Let's see what my results are. Equality, justice, humanity. So, what do we got? Constructivism, essentialism, rehabilitative justice, yes. Progressive, I think it comes as no surprise to anyone that I'm a progressive. Internationalism, I seem to be 50-50 split on that. 50-50 split on capitalism and communism. That doesn't surprise me. I do believe that a country should be equal parts social and capitalist. Regulationism over laissez-faire. Now, neoliberalism is laissez-faire, and it is sinking economies, so that doesn't surprise me. Ecology over productivism, big 50-50, yes, and revolution versus reformism, 50-50, doesn't surprise me. I think, so yeah, there we go, there's a closer breakdown of it. People want to see, so I am, it's basically it is where I am. I support this. Pragmatism, politically objective, boiled down to look at where the problems are and trying to solve them according to the means available. Yes, I'm pragmatic. So yeah, there it is. That's my result. I will put a link to the test into the description if you want to do it yourself. And if you're watching this, you probably notice I'm actually laying down. That is how I spend most of my days, because I do actually have a bad leg, bad back. So yeah, I will put a link to this test if you want to do it yourself. I've seen others doing it. But let me know how you get it, what you get, how you go if you haven't done it, if you've done it already. So I will see you next time. So long.